when you asked me to talk about Dawn, I was so honored. And the Gween is for you. The Gween. I had a lot of time on planes this month, and I thought on each of my plane rides back and forth about Dawn and what words I would use to describe this wonderful man. And Paul used the word that came right to mind first, to my mind, which was master craftsman. But beyond his incredible aesthetic and talent work-wise, other words like humble, caring, kind, quiet, understated, an easy sense of humor, a beloved and devoted husband, a loving father, a very proud grandfather. He was always subtly giving to others, and I think about our Leon mission, which is our sustained mission that Carole continues to lead. And I think about him being very front and center in the seismic retrofit of our SPC church in 1999 and 2000. But personally, I first got to know Dawn back in the 90s. And I got to know him as a contractor because I'd heard about him through other members of our church. We had had a leak in our dining room that was much like a waterfall coming down the windows for years. And I finally, at fellowship hour one Sunday, went up to Dawn and said, "Would you mind coming by? Could I hire you to come and see if you could fix this leak?" He agreed to do it very quietly. He arrived at the house, and after all these years, went up to our master bedroom, which was nowhere near where this water was coming out, and very rapidly figured it all out, and it never leaked again. Then in the early 2000s, we looked all around, and we had all these books all over the house, and I said to Don, would you be willing to build us a bookcase? It's going to have to be pretty big. And he said, absolutely. And to this very day, it sits in our family room as done by an incredible craftsman, but really as an incredible work of art. Back in August of 2004, Steve and I took 5 teenagers with us to the mission in Leon, Mexico. And so I was thinking about this, and I texted our son Kevin, who was one of those teenagers at the time. And Kev just got married and lives in New York City, and he responded to my text, and I said, "Would you think about your time with Dawn, and if you have any memories of that, would you send me those memories?" He said, "Oh, absolutely." So I'm going to read what he sent me. "I remember Dawn as the quiet, strong type, and he did his work in Leon with great care. He was patient with us as he guided the building process, but he was quick to laugh, and he brought joy to the work. He was capable of being precise and exacting with his work, but also compassionate and kind with his colleagues. We will miss him very much." Then fast forward to a Monday afternoon in May of 2010. I had hired a pest control company to come to our attic, and a guy that was very clumsy was up in our attic and decided to have an accident up there. He slipped and fell onto a copper pipe, a fire suppression pipe, unleashing thousands of gallons of water into our home, draining into the ceiling of our master bedroom collapsed and drained into 9 rooms of the house. I immediately called 911 because I realized I'd given my water turn-off tool to a neighbor to come and help me turn off the water at the main. My very second phone call was to Don Galen. And I said, "Don, you got the project of a lifetime." And then I called Steve to tell him what happened. Normally, I would always get 3 bids for any contract work. This was not that kind of situation. Don and Kurt arrived and looked at this unbelievable mess, and I walked them through the project. I talked to them, and I called my insurance company, and they said, "Well, this is obviously going to be up to senior advisors in the field because this is a massive loss." And I said, "Oh, please, Don and Kurt, please really think about this. And Don was very kind of reticent to take it on. They had other projects in the works, of course. And I just said a prayer after they left that Kurt would be able to talk his dad into this job. And Kurt, you did. They agreed, and with the eyes and hands of a master, they rebuilt all the rooms of our home, bringing in their wonderful subs that respected the project and us due to their association with the Galings. Many of the rooms had to be taken down to the studs. They had to take all the lights out, all the wiring out, all the appliances out. Some entire rooms had to be taken out. I have this memory of this process of Don sitting in what used to be our dining room, which was no longer anything at that time, sitting eating his homemade sandwich on the floor in his khaki overalls that he wore every day, during a very rare break in his work. And with all this massive work to go on, he always asked how Kevin was doing, how I was doing, how Steve was doing. It was always about the others, never about his issues. All during the rebuild, which took from May to February the next year. We lived in a rented loft a few minutes away. And during that time, Don provided, and in fact he exuded, such a sense of quiet strength. Right in the middle of this restoration, my mother died from Alzheimer's. I left Don and Kurt with the keys to what was left of our house and went back to my family in Ohio to memorialize my own mother. I am not quite sure I would have made it through unscathed if there had been a person of lesser honesty, integrity, or substance in charge of this project. His quiet calm and reassuring confidence, his understated strength, his support, held me up. He helped rebuild not only my house, but my psyche. I so appreciated Don and Kurt for that project, and appreciated Don for who he was as a person, and trusted him implicitly. I knew we were in safe hands with Don at the helm, working alongside his wonderfully talented Kurt and his legacy at this point. God truly did break the mold when he made a man like Don. He will be missed by us forever, for sure.